Ibrahim Traoré has declared from today, if you are a minister and you are entitled to serve the people and you steal $1, I'm talking about $1, you are going to spend.
Let's talk about Burkina Faso, a nation nestled in the heart of West Africa. It's a country often overlooked, a quiet player on the vast stage of the African continent. But beneath the surface of this unassuming nation lies a story of ambition, resilience, and a declaration that has sent ripples of shock and awe throughout the world. A country most people barely notice on the world map. It's a place that rarely makes headlines, a nation seemingly content to exist in the background of global affairs. But recently, it made a jaw-dropping announcement, a declaration so audacious, so unexpected, that it has left the international community reeling. It declared itself officially corruption-free, a statement that challenges everything we think we know about governance, development, and the fight against corruption in the modern world. Not less corrupt, not a marginal improvement, not a slight reduction in illicit activities, not working on it, not a promise for the future, not a commitment to reform, but a declaration of present-day purity, corruption-free, a complete and utter absence of graft, bribery, and illicit dealings within its borders. The world's reaction. How did the global community respond to such an extraordinary claim? Disbelief. Utter, unadulterated disbelief. A collective raising of eyebrows, a global chorus of "really?" Analysts in Washington, the think tanks, the policy wonks, the experts. Paris and London were stunned. The capitals of the world, the centers of power, the arbiters of global opinion, all taken aback by this audacious declaration. Burkina Faso, long plagued by coups, a nation synonymous with political instability and poverty, a country struggling to provide for its citizens, grappling with the challenges of economic hardship, was suddenly claiming a clean slate. A fresh start, a new beginning, a complete and utter transformation. This wasn't a PR stunt, not a carefully crafted campaign designed to improve the country's image, or an empty campaign promise. It wasn't just another politician making grand pronouncements to win votes. It was a bold public stand, a defiant act of self-determination, a clear message to the world. The message, the underlying principle behind this audacious claim: a nation's destiny isn't set by its past. That a country's history of corruption and instability doesn't have to define its future, or its poverty. That economic hardship and lack of resources are not insurmountable barriers to good governance. Burkina Faso was drawing a line in the sand, marking a clear boundary between its past and its future, challenging both its own corrupt system and the global order that profits from it. A direct confrontation with the forces that perpetuate corruption and inequality on a global scale. The world scrambled to make sense of it, struggling to reconcile this bold declaration with the realities of global politics. Was it delusion, a naive and unrealistic assessment of the country's situation? Genius, a calculated move designed to attract investment and international support? Or the real deal? A genuine transformation, a fundamental shift in the country's approach to governance? But the real story is how Burkina Faso got here, the journey that led this nation to make such an audacious claim. And it didn't start with foreign aid or hashtags. This wasn't a story manufactured by international organizations or amplified through social media campaigns. It started with a young captain in a red beret, a military officer with a vision for a better Burkina Faso, who decided enough is enough was more than a slogan. A leader who believed that the time for empty promises and half measures was over, and that's where things get interesting. The story of how one man's determination sparked a movement that dared to challenge the status quo. So, how does a country go from a corruption case study to declaring itself clean? It wasn't through endless debates or foreign-funded programs. It was necessity, and Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Traoré, a junior officer, saw a nation collapsing under extremism and corruption. He and his peers acted, not for power, but to rescue their country. Their message: Burkina Faso for the Burkinabe. Resources, security, and the future decided by its own people. Traoré wasted no time. Fighting corruption became the main event. The cleanup was swift and targeted the old power structure, ministers, directors, and military officers who'd looted the country. But it wasn't just about firing people. Networks of corruption were dismantled. Aggressive audits uncovered ghost contracts, missing budgets, and foreign influence. Officials tied to foreign interests were removed. Toxic ties were cut. The sweep reached every level, from the capital to local administrations. Special anti-corruption units and citizen hotlines were set up. The message: no one is untouchable, and this is your country again. For the first time, people believed real change was possible. The government asked citizens to help clean up, and they did. Hope began to replace cynicism. Corruption-free isn't just a catchy slogan or an empty promise. It's not simply a phrase politicians use during campaigns. It's visible in daily life, woven into the fabric of society. You can see it in the way people interact with their government, in the trust they place in their leaders, and in the opportunities available to them. The government opened its books, making financial information readily accessible to the public. No more secrets, no more hidden agendas. Budgets became public and understandable, presented in a clear and concise manner so that everyone could grasp where the money was going. Villagers could see with their own eyes how much was specifically allocated for their school or clinic, empowering them with knowledge and insight. And demand answers, holding officials accountable if the money vanished or was misused. This fostered a culture of responsibility and transparency. Independent audits exposed shoddy contractors and substandard work, ensuring that public funds were used effectively and efficiently, and led to real consequences for those who engaged in corrupt practices, sending a clear message that such behavior would not be tolerated. Cancelled contracts, blacklists preventing further abuse, and money clawed back, returning stolen funds to the public coffers. Power shifted to the local level, empowering communities to make decisions that directly affected their lives. Accountability became the norm, with regular meetings and open forums where citizens could voice their concerns and hold their leaders responsible. Citizen watch committees, formed by everyday people, farmers, teachers, shopkeepers, and other community members, monitored projects, ensuring that they were completed on time, within budget, and to the required standards. They ensured resources reached their intended destinations, preventing diversion and ensuring that those in need received the assistance they deserved. Corruption-free doesn't mean perfect, flawless execution, but it means everyone is watching, vigilant, and ready to raise the alarm if something seems amiss. Local leaders now answer directly to their communities, understanding that their power comes from the people they serve. Not just the capital, breaking the cycle of centralized control and empowering local voices. Transparency and participation became the new standard, fostering a sense of ownership and shared responsibility. People became active stakeholders in their own governance, shaping their communities and building a brighter future for themselves and their children. That's what real change looks like, a tangible improvement in the lives of ordinary people, driven by transparency, accountability, and active citizen participation. For decades, some people were above the law: elites, foreign contractors, even some NGOs. Traoré's reforms smashed this system. NGOs were forced to show financial transparency or leave. Foreign contractors lost their grip. Exploitative deals were cancelled and local companies prioritized. Patriotic contracting replaced neo-colonial economics, the hardest part, taking on local elites who'd controlled everything for years. Anti-corruption courts froze assets and seized illegally acquired property. For the first time, the Untouchables faced real justice. The message: your name or connections can't save you anymore. A new era had dawned, one of accountability. The old order was over. Justice was no longer optional. You'd think the world would celebrate Burkina Faso's anti-corruption revolution. Instead, Western media mostly ignored it or painted it negatively. Why? Because it challenges the narrative that Africa needs saving from the outside. A sovereign, successful Burkina Faso threatens old interests. But across Africa, the story spread. On social media, in cafes, on t-shirts. Traoré became a symbol of new Pan-African leadership, Africans saw hope, not chaos, a liberator, not a dictator. The continent's pride grew as the West stayed silent. Africans are now telling their own story, and at the center is Burkina Faso, the little country that could. To truly understand the impact of these changes, to grasp the depth of the transformation underway, listen to the voices of the people of Ouagadougou. Hear their stories, their hopes, and their renewed sense of possibility. Their experiences paint a vivid picture of a nation on the rise. Aminata, a market vendor, a woman who has spent years eking out a living in the bustling markets of the capital, no longer faces the constant pressure of paying petty bribes just to sell her vegetables. The burden of corruption has been lifted, allowing her to keep more of her hard-earned money. For the first time, I feel the government is for me, she says, her voice filled with a newfound sense of hope and trust. They are finally listening to our needs. Adama, a young entrepreneur, brimming with ideas and ambition, can finally realize his dream and start his business without being suffocated by endless demands for bribes and kickbacks. The path to entrepreneurship is now clearer, more accessible. We believe in our country again, he declares with unwavering conviction. We see a future for ourselves here, a future where hard work and innovation are rewarded. Soldiers, the protectors of the nation, now receive proper equipment and resources. No more stolen funds siphoning away vital resources, leaving them ill-equipped and vulnerable. Morale is up significantly, and people feel safer knowing that their security forces are well supported and committed to their protection. The fight against corruption is not just a matter of good governance, it is directly linked to the fight against terrorism, striking at the very roots of instability. Life isn't perfect, poverty remains a stark reality for many, and insecurity continues to cast a shadow over certain regions. But despite these challenges, the overall mood has undeniably changed. The deep-seated cynicism that once permeated society is gradually giving way to a sense of cautious optimism, a belief that a better future is within reach. And a renewed sense of national pride is blossoming, uniting people from all walks of life. People are volunteering their time and skills, actively supporting the army and security forces, and enthusiastically joining community development projects aimed at improving their neighborhoods and villages. They feel like active stakeholders, invested in a national renewal, a collective effort to build a brighter future for all. We have been asleep for 60 years, says an old man, his eyes filled with wisdom and experience as he sips tea in a bustling shop. But now, finally, Burkina Faso is waking up, shaking off the shackles of the past. The sense of collective purpose, the shared determination to build a better nation, is palpable and undeniably real. The country is undergoing a profound transformation, a change that is rising from the ground up, driven by the will of its people. What happens in Burkina Faso is echoing across the Sahel. Neighbors like Mali and Niger are watching closely, seeing a new blueprint for sovereignty and reform. The Burkinabe model is inspiring others to ask, what can we do for ourselves? The alliance of Sahel states is evolving into a political and economic bloc. Pan-African dreams of self-reliance are being revived. Challenges remain, but the spark from Ouagadougou has ignited hope. Even beyond the Sahel, people are taking note. Radical homegrown change is possible. The political winds are shifting in Africa. Dramatic change creates enemies, inside and out. The old guard, stripped of power, is fighting back with money and disinformation. Foreign powers, especially France, see their influence threatened and may try to destabilize the country. Traoré's revolution faces immense risks, but he's already shattered the myth that Africa can't solve its own problems. He's turned the presidency into a tool for national liberation. Whether he succeeds or fails, he's set a new standard for leadership. Burkina Faso's story is now a testament to Africa's power to define its own destiny. This is a story worth telling. This is Insight Africa, where the continent speaks for itself.